of the Tribal Design Forum at Tribal Futures, a month-long online festival to celebrate contemporary tribal imagination. My name is Swati Sushmita Lakra, and I shall be the host for today. The Tribal Design Forum is a vibrant community of multidisciplinary designers and creative professionals from various tribes of India. From the past 3 years, we have been gathering here regularly, interacting with domain experts, learning from them, and exploring ways to use art, design, and technology for the benefit of our communities. In fact, Tribal Design Forum has curated some of the finest works from the artists, designers, and other creative professionals who have previously spoken on our platform. We are currently organizing a month-long online festival showcasing and celebrating contemporary tribal imagination from the 1st to the 31st of August, every evening at 7:30 p.m. More details about this festival can be found at www.tribaldesignforum.com. These sessions are also live streamed on our YouTube channel. That said, continuing on our quest to showcase and appreciate the brilliant works of artists, designers, and creative professionals from the tribal communities, we are here today to delve into the journey of Alan Shaw, an artist, illustrator, animator, and designer hailing from the Orang community, currently based in Berlin, Germany. His recent works could be seen as animation segments in the film All India Rank, directed by Varun Grover. Alan will be presenting a 30 minutes online talk on his 28-year-old journey of sketching daily lives. This presentation will offer a visual documentation of Alan's personal and professional growth, tracing his evolution from a small hamlet in Bihar to the vibrant cultural landscape of Berlin. Alan will share a selection of his sketches, highlighting how these works capture everyday moments and stories that reflect the diverse environments and cultures that he has encountered. He will discuss how his experiences across different regions have influenced his artistic style and perspective, and how his sketches serve as a visual diary that chronicles his life and artistic journey. The session will conclude with a 30 minutes of question and answer, providing an opportunity for the audience to engage with Alan on the nuances of sketching as a form of documentation, the impact of geographical and cultural shifts on an artist's work, and broader narrative of artistic exploration and discovery. The presentation by Alan will be of 45 minutes, followed by 30 minutes of Q&A. Please feel free to put your questions or comments in the chat while the presentation is on. We would be keen to take up your questions with Alan at the Q&A session. Due to paucity of time, we shall be able to take only 5 questions that would appear in the chat box. So keep your questions ready to make the session an interactive one. Alan, we are indeed delighted to have you come and speak with us. We're looking forward to listening to you. The floor is all yours.
Thank you so much. I will share the screen and let's start from there. So Johar, everybody, and I'm really happy. I'm not very active, but I keep looking at what is happening on the forum, and I keep in touch with Horo mostly, so he keeps me updated with most of the stuff. So very glad to be here. So when I was asked to do this, I said yes, but you have your presentations, but I wanted this presentation to be specially done for this. So I'm taking something which is very recent. I was on a summer break just a week back. I was in Sweden, and I ended the trip in Denmark. But we were on an island for 4 days, and there I saw this lone horse, and I was just thinking about isolation, and when you're put in a certain situation, or where you're left in a certain situation where you're very you're a minority, or you're just the only one. So I just wrote in my sketchbook. If this lone horse on the island ever decides to write, it will be a bit Kafkaesque, and that is why. Why is that? It's because you you never get to hear the stories of from the other perspective. So there's a very, I think it's an African saying, which is just until the lions, which is until the lions tell their stories, it will be always the hunter whose story would be out. So yeah, I start the slide, the presentation with this one. Swati, I'm audible and all of that, no?
Yes,
Swati,
Alan.
I'm audible and the visual is clear, right? Yeah.
Yes, Alan, you're audible. And the visual
Okay,
is
cool.
clear.
Thank you. Yeah. So as in the introduction, like it's a number 28 years, but it's been a fairly long time. So this sketch was done I think 2 years ago, and I was just looking at my shelf in my house, and I was just looking at the number of sketchbooks that I have. It's also to do with the number of stories that you have. So each of these sketchbook is very very special to me, because when you record, no, you don't know what you're recording, in the sense that what's the value of it. So I will go back to my tribal roots, and I'll talk about fishing. As a kid, I used to, although I grew up in a town, and but I still had relatives and who I mean regularly went hunting and also fishing and all of that. So I now, after many years, I look back at that and I just think that sketching is pretty much like fishing. You go every day. Sometimes you catch a small fish, sometimes you catch a big fish, sometimes you come home empty handed, but there are days when you catch a goldfish. But to catch the goldfish, you have to fish daily, and it's not about just catching the goldfish, but it's just a process which one indulges in. And so I really compare this act of sketching to fishing and going fishing every day. uh, my sketchbooks, sketching is not like, I don't believe in this whole thing of a sketch a day or ink October कि एक समय होगा तब जाके लोग active हो जाएंगे suddenly. For me, sketching has become a way of life. It's where the stories live, where I live, and I also find refuge in the comfort of my sketchbooks. So this is a sketch I did when I was really tired of everything, and I was going on a break last summer. Just one night before the break, I was just thinking that about this whole theme. So I just sketched it out, and that's Abraham Khalko. He's my maternal uncle, and when I talk when we are talking about stories now, who will tell us stories? So Abraham, no, was in Hazaribagh, and not exactly proper Hazaribagh. I won't know the exact space or place where he was, but he was walking through the jungle where one missionary stopped him and. He said, "कहाँ जा रहे हैं?" So he said, "School जा रहे हैं." And then that guy said, "But you don't have where is school?" So he said, "It's very far away." And then you don't have any books. So he said, "I cannot afford any books." And so the missionary asked him to come to his place, and so Abraham became kind of a regular at this guy. He was a priest, priest place, and Abraham learned typing on his typewriter. That's one thing that he learned there. But many years later, when Abraham left his village and went to Jamalpur to for the railway workshop का apprentice खलासी होता है ना, खलासी का interview. So they asked him कि, "Do you know how to type?" Where nobody, I mean, that time nobody used to know how to type and all. He said yes. And then his story, what I really like about his story is that he said that suddenly they gave me a typewriter which had all the keys visible. I could read A, B, C, D in there. The one I had practiced on didn't have, वो सब fade हो गया था, तो I used to search for. So मैंने फट से type कर दिया, and he got the job. And he retired as the in charge of the boiler shop for the locomotive. So he retired as an officer. He went as an khalasi, but the thing that got him in was this story about a typewriter which he practiced on, where the keys, the names of the letters were not visible, and suddenly he had a typewriter over there. So Abraham is not with us anymore. But once I asked him, he's influenced my life quite a bit because he was this very calm, slow, easygoing person. And I asked him, "आप क्या सोचते हो जब मैंने ये sketch बनाया था ना? What is it that you dream of?" And he said, "Dreams don't come to me." And I thought it was super cool, like just it doesn't come to it. So then I will talk about my paternal grandfather's younger brother, who was called Godwill Shaw. Godwill Shaw used to run a floor mill, atta chakki. एंड इन द फ्लोर मिल ना वी यूज्ड टू गो एज किड्स ना, उनका एक छोटा सा टेबल था, तभी आटा गेहूं पीसने का ना, यू यूज्ड टू गेट 50 पैसे, 1 रुपी और समथिंग लाइक दैट ना. सो ही यूज्ड टू जस्ट टेक आउट दिस पूरा चिल्लर ना, एक मुट्ठी निकाल के हमें दे देते थे, बोलते थे जाके टॉफी खरीद लो. तो हमारे लिए ना ही वाज द टॉफी वाला दादा. So now when I look back and when I look at myself, I learned storytelling as a part of the animation film design program. And so, but what are the stories that I would like to tell? I would like to tell stories that I've experienced and people that I've come across. So this is another one of those. And इनका ना वो जो आटा नापने का तराजू होता था, उसके ऊपर हमको बैठा दिया जाता था, हमारा वेट लिया जाता था. So I don't know, it was quite entertaining to be there, but it's nice to be able to remember and tell this story to you today, or to everybody. Then, during lockdown, I had come across the story of this laborer who had to steal his bicycle, his master's bicycle, to just go home. And he had left this little story behind. So I really think कि ये सारे चीजें they get lost if it's a post of the day, on internet, or if it's something which goes viral and people share it, it gets still it doesn't get the value or the respect that it deserves. So I took this and I got this published in Cycle magazine, which is a magazine I work for. And when something gets published, I think there is a more a permanence to it, and the story stays, and it stays in a different way. This is David. David was a mechanic in a garage. Yeah. I mean, he used to own a garage, and he was a Bullet Enfield specialist. So my father had a Bullet, so we used to go there. But after the work hours, David used to turn into this magician. He used to play the accordion, and he was beautiful. Like, you forgot about his greasy clothes, and you forgot about everything. We used to just get together. My mother used to come. They used to sing hymns together, and I think it's such a beautiful part of my childhood. And so it is to do with communities. It is to do with people who are special. He could play the accordion because he comes from a certain community, and although he will do all the rest of the things, but there will be a part of him which belongs to that community, pretty much like us. I mean, when I joined the Tribal Design Forum, I was not thinking of saying, I want to be a tribal designer or a designer. I am a designer first, but I'm a designer who has tribal roots, and I'm really, really proud of that, because I carry that from my community, and it reflects in my work. Not all my work would be influenced by my background, but subconsciously you do take a few things from where you're coming from. And so my father was a priest, and sorry about the size of this, I could not find a larger scan of this particular artwork. My father had a salary of 800 rupees, but we used to live in this very lavish bungalow because वो priest थे ना, तो priest are entitled to this chaplain's bungalow, which is very, very elaborate. And for me, I owe a lot to this space, and this piece I had done for my mother because we all have a lot of good memories from this place. We had nothing. 800 rupee ka salary mein you can't do much. But there were trees to climb, and if you look at the details, so I just have some rough sketches. That's the older me drawing the younger me in my sketchbook. I used to go hunting, so the catapult was a very, very big part of my life. And so, you have to just see that what is the culture, where is it coming from. And the railway workshop had so many people from Hazaribagh and that area, Ranchi and Ramgarh, and uh, it was bound that we interacted, and I picked up a few things. I used to go fishing, so this is also a part of that sketch. And then when we talk about stories, it's not just I would not just say that I will talk about my community only. There are other communities also, which are I mean, which needs attention in a way. Like, for example, I was doing the Ahmedabad sketchbook. It was going to be published, and I was sketching every day, like, trying to find things. And then one day I met this guy in the old city. He was dragging his bicycle. He was not riding it, and he had these thailas, jolis, and he was wearing these red shoes. So I was quite fascinated by this character. So I stopped him and I said, "Chacha, क्या कर रहे हो?" तो he said, "मैं काम कर रहा हूँ." तो I said, "क्या काम करते हैं?" तो he said कि ये सड़क पे जो बच्चे घूमते हैं ना, जो स्कूल नहीं जा पाते हैं ना, इनको पकड़ पकड़ के मैं पढ़ाता हूँ, उनके लिए ये किताबें लेके घूमता हूँ. And I thought, what a character. And that time, no, there was a lot of talk about Ahmedabad का नाम change कर देते, ये कर देते, वो कर देते. But I just thought कि this is the spirit of the city, and this guy is like one of the flag bearers कि हम ऐसे हैं, like, हम ऐसे भी हो सकते हैं. So I put him on the cover. So that is the way I tell stories कि I pick up my stories. Then I was on this on this cycle trip from Delhi to Udaipur on my very fancy bicycle with 21 gears and stuff like that. And I was very proud of myself. On the fifth day or something, no, third day, I was in Agra, and I come across this man who's on a very ordinary regular bicycle. He's doing some 1,500 kilometers. I'm doing 900 kilometers. I'm relatively young. He has a reason. He's talking about economy ke saath ecology bhi, like, and he's promoting bicycles. And I thought that was fantastic. So his story also has to be told. So I recorded, and this became a part of the exhibition Bicycle Stories from India, which was exhibited at the Indian Embassy in Berlin. So and then subsequently the book was supposed to be published, but pandemic happened, so abhi tak wo hua nahi hai. And then Rajan the weaver in Ahmedabad. Rajan is a designer, full-fledged designer, was a designer. But when we used to go to his workshop, it's amazing. Like, you have this man who has this workshop where people just come and weave, and he was such an inspiration, and it was very always nice to go there. And he would flirt with the ladies who come for weaving, and they all flirted back. We'll eat bhajia, and it was just fun. So I'm very happy that I have him in my sketchbook. Then, sketching, it's again, I just, as I told you, that I don't believe in this, you have to sketch one sketch a day. No, it has to become a way of life, and for me it has become a way of life. So somebody says कि वो एक रेसिपी बनाने, तो उसको इलस्ट्रेट करने का है, बनाने मतलब रेसिपी चाहिए तो उसको ढंग से करके देंगे. Then like, when we go for a trip, I don't drive, so my wife is driving. But my kid, no, she's 7.5. But when she was 1 year old or 2 years, abhi bhi, we listen to a lot of children's music in the car, and it's always about this animals, dinosaurs, blah blah, and it's boring at the same time. It's very funny that we is sitting and listening to this. So this is while it's my kind of selfie while sitting in the car. I do these perspectives where you see a little more than what is there. So, and another thing about style, no, we talked about evolution of style. I think an illustrator is like a versatile actor. I don't want to stick to a style. I do have my favorable mediums and stuff like that, but in reality, I just like creating, and it doesn't matter what kind. I mean, sometimes it will be very serious. Sometimes it gets into ये आलू था ना उसके अंकुर आ गए थे तो वो स्प्राउट्स आ गए तो अभी उसमें कुछ दिख रहा था, तो आई टुक सम फोटोग्राफ्स, वेंट ऑन द कंप्यूटर, लाइक डिड सम स्केचेस, फिर उसको वेक्टर में कन्वर्ट किया, कंप्यूटर पे साथ में डाल दिया एंड वाज हैप्पी। वो 2020 आया है तो एंजॉय द राइड पर है, ठीक है। सो लेकिन उस समय एंजॉय द राइड दिस वेंट वेरी लाइक बिकेम वेरी पॉपुलर, क्या अच्छा ग्राफिक बनाया है व्हाटएवर। बट उसके बाद कोरोना आ गया 2020 में, तो इट्स आल्सो फनी दैट आई एम सेइंग एंजॉय द राइड एंड देन दैट हैपेंस। Then you're using the circle and then you see something, so that is there. Then Dada Saab Phalke, you have to do a film, you have to do an illustration. So you think about everything, no? You think about, okay, what was the first film that he made? It was about a pea plant growing up. So, and one of the very famous photograph is this one where he's looking at this mm, film. Then it's about perspective. I always think drawing is about perspective. Storytelling is about perspective. You give your perspective about a certain subject. So this is one sketch which was done. I would not call it a sketch. It's a full-fledged painting done in Goa. Then coffee stains. I not sticking to one medium. Coffee stains I तो कुछ करने का. So it is like that. And one of the influences, very strong influence, is Soviet Union, because a lot of us from our age group would remember that till mid 80s we used to get, or late 80s we used to get magazines and literature, a lot of literature from Soviet Union. And a lot of my work as a kid was influenced by books published by Mir Publication Moscow, because that's in my hometown when there is not a single public library. We had books from Russia. I grew up reading Sputnik as a magazine, so that influence is there. So one of the exhibitions I did this. Then this is the space where I used to have my studio. So and I feel illustration is something, it's easy, it's storytelling, but what one has to do is you have to have the skills to be able to draw, and then it's just about plotting this in if you just look at this illustration, it's just three cuboids or four cuboids which are seen from the top, and then you fill in the details. But it looks very complicated because it's got many elements. But and if you have the correct information, what is this building, what does this building look like, and how many floors it has, how much area does it cover. So you could be sitting anywhere and drawing this. So this is a building in Berlin which I drew at a campsite in France. Because information is in your head, you have the skills to draw, all you are doing is plotting information on that grid that you create. Now, talking about communities, I worked in Kutch. I still work in Kutch, but regularly I worked for 17 years in Kutch, and working with the communities there. And they're essentially nomads, the ones that I was working with, most of them. And then there are other communities also. So I did a whole series of artworks based on my experiences there. And here, this lady, I was very fascinated by her motives. They sometimes bordered to abstraction, to a level where you could not recognize what it is, and it looked pretty alien, and it looked pretty contemporary. So I asked her, and she said, "Oh, I look up the night sky for inspiration." So I really liked that whole idea. It's like she's working like any design student or any design graduate or any professional designer would work. She gets inspired from somewhere and she breaks it down and uses her set of skills to create something. So that is there. And then there is Saleh Mohammed, who is a block printer, and he does these indigo prints. And I was thinking about just whole thing of, he was making this wavy block print, and I was thinking that he creates this very beautiful indigo ocean, but how difficult it must be to keep his own boat afloat. So that was the take on that. Then we talk about communities, we talk about influences, and influence of unplanned development. So when I was working for 17 years in this region, I realized that यार इसको ना special economic zone declare कर दिया है for development or whatever they call it, but the result of it was very very strange because they really screwed up the environment there. They built these coal-fed power plants, and the weavers, they in 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 the whole name of progress, they didn't make much more money. They just became like drivers, and some of them went and were the laborers for the factories. So this was just my comment on that. And I mean, I think it's important to use your art to also speak up about issues that you feel strongly about, and it's just my perspective. I'm not asking anybody to subscribe to my point of view, but I do have a point of view and I want to share it with the world. So that is there. And then how do you deal with this? So you do different things. So I created. I mean, this is a project I took up for Soumya Kala Vidya, where I did the crafts map, which is a very simplified map of Kutch. It just says कि कलर कोड किया हुआ है कि कौन सा क्राफ्ट कहाँ पे होता है, एंड मैप को ना फोल्ड करेंगे तो ये सारा इंफॉर्मेशन अबाउट अजरक प्रिंटिंग, वीविंग, व्हाट काइंड ऑफ वीविंग इज देयर, व्हाट काइंड ऑफ एम्ब्रॉयडरी इज देयर, व्हाट काइंड ऑफ पैच वर्क इज देयर, एंड एट द बैक ऑल द आर्टिजन्स नो, उनका लोगो, उनका फोन नंबर, उनका सब कुछ लिखा है. तो अभी मिडिल मैन को तो गोली मार दिया, बिकॉज यू सी व्हाट हैपेंस इज व्हेन यू हैव अ मैप लाइक दिस. Any buyer who gets to see this, or anybody who's interested, they can directly contact the artisans. So I'm terribly proud of the fact that I use my design education to do something for a region, for a set of people, for certain communities, something where I make my money, but it's also meaningful. This one of the artisans using the map, or who owns the map. Now, like, there's this whole thing about me and trees, and it's a lot to do with how I grew up, what I carry from my roots, and so there is this very very big sculpture in Berlin, in a park which is called the Barefoot Park, where you walk. But I really like this little surprise which is there in the middle of the forest. There is this. There's this sculpture, and he looks like as if he's guarding the forest, and that's the scale of it. That's my daughter, and that's this is from the recent holiday. I just keep looking at trees and something keeps happening. And, then there was this very beautiful article that I got to illustrate. It's by a guy called Sushil Shukla, and he wrote. The gist of the article is कि यार जब मैं हरे कौवे बनाता हूँ ना तो मुझे टीचर डांटते, लेकिन जब नीम के पेड़ को काट के कोई फर्नीचर की दुकान बना देता है ना तो उसको कोई कुछ नहीं बोलता. So I really think it boils down to that, is what do we want to say? We can say save trees, save water, and all of that jazz, but how beautifully you can say it depends on how you look at your art, how you look at your craft. And same thing said differently, and then it comes to me, and then I look at myself and I see how I can illustrate it. And again, that goes into print, it goes into many hands, it exchange hands. Books are something which it has a life after uska wo kuch end nahi hota hai. Then this is there is a just sketchbook pages, simply like this was an illustrated book of poems there. So then this is just a tree in our backyard, which is very very pretty. So this is my interpretation of it. It changes color every season. Now we're talking about travelogues here, and so one of the countries I really wanted to go to was Soviet Union or Russia now, because it has a lot of influence. We talked about influence. So this is from my sketchbook when we were living in a log house. Then this is from Wales. So I keep reacting to things Sometimes I illustrate reality. Most of the time I'm sketching what I see, but then also the influences are this. So I went to Wales and then I was reading the guidebook. It said there are 11 million sheep in Wales. So when I did this one and I because वो green बनाया था ना, वो खत्म हो गया था पेंट करते करते, तो इधर फिर से green बनाया और dark हो गया. तो grass is greener on the other side of the sketchbook. ऐसा कोई joke भी मारा. When I saw this leaning tower, my first reaction was, "अरे यार ये तो काफी टेढ़ा है." So I just wrote it down like that only. This is yeah, something I'm terribly proud of. I climbed Mount Fuji, and that was also off season, so that was the route. And in Japan, no, there were these stamps all over. So my sketchbook is full of stamps. That's me on top of Mount Fuji, and that's I think my wife who's taking the picture. Yeah. And what was very nice was since it was off season, we were the only two people on the top, and we hung around for some time, and it was really beautiful. This was in Netherlands, so I just record things that fascinate me. This was a very beautiful sculpture. It was just sheets of glass put on top of each other, and you create a material like that, and you sculpt it. So you get this very beautiful layered material, and it's transparent and it's beautiful. So yeah, that's just one of the houses. This is Warsaw, a very quick impression because we were there just for a few hours before we drove down to some other place. So this is a place, this is the section in the presentation where I talk about influences because of traveling. Because you travel, you keep experiencing things. I don't have, or we don't have that kind of time to go through everything. This is in Bosnia. So design education plays a very, very big role in how you record things, how much, what is the composition. There was this Mahendra Bhai who taught us composition. So unka her lesson abhi bhi before I start a page is the most relevant thing that I see. And like this is Calcutta. Then you have Greece. Then when we talk about influences, I travel quite a lot. So when I had to put up my first solo exhibition, it was called the Everywhere Man, and I was feeling very very lonely that time. I want to call it the Nowhere Man, but the gallery or the organization, they said no, it should be Everywhere Man. It should be because that's how you are, and. This is from a project we concluded recently in Italy. This was it's not June, July. Uh, we were a group of musicians, artists, singers, songwriters, and a donkey. And my job in this project was to sketch this journey, which we did on foot. We traveled from one village to the next village, and the donkey showed us the way. So again, we talk about roots, we talk about where we are coming from. So this is how things used to be in medieval time. In this, we took a very medieval path, which is called the Strada Roma, and earlier in medieval years, times, the donkey used to take goods from one place to the other and at a certain pace. So the whole idea was that this group of people are bringing in art and culture with the donkey. And my job towards the end, I am there. My job was to record this journey as in terms of sketches. And it was so nice, and it was such a big success. Every performance in the evening was really, really taken. Taken very well by people. So I'm going back for another project there. But now coming down to illustration projects and what is it that one is trying to do. So how are we doing with time, Swati?
We are good.
Okay. How much time do I have? Because I would need to know that for presenting more.
A little bit more time before we share the video.
Okay, okay. So when we talk about identity, ना, I would like to read this. मुझे पता नहीं कि मेरी दादी से पहले की 6 पीढ़ियों वाली दादियों की कैसी दिखती थी, क्या पहनती थी, क्या खाती थी, कैसी भाषा बोलती थी और कहाँ रहती थी. मुझे ये भी नहीं पता कि शादी से पहले उनके सरनेम क्या थे, कौन थी उनकी सहेलियां, क्या खेल खेलती थी वो, और कैसे तय हुआ था उनका ब्याह। मैं पिछले दिनों हरिद्वार गया था, तो एक पंडे ने पोथी खोलकर बता दिया कि मेरे 7 पीढ़ियों में दादाओं के बारे में, उनके पैदा होने की तारीख, शहर, बच्चे, काम धाम और कभी कभी मरने के दिन भी। लेकिन दादियों का तो वो केवल नाम बता पाए, तेजी, हीराबाई, दुलारी, बिज्जो, भगवती, whatever, Sundar Devi or Munni Devi. So when this came, no, this is pretty much about what we are trying to do. No, we are trying to give identity to things that deserve that identity. And so I looked at it as a Russian doll, which is like, layers. It's not that it can be fixed in a day. It has to be, and the younger generation has to do that. So that's why when you say Dadi, na, so somebody who's young is talking about somebody from 2 generations ago, before, and I thought it is very relevant, and it's very relevant to what we do. Life throws strange surprises. I got to work with Gulzar Saab, so this was the first Zoom meeting. Now I've met him 4 times over, and I get treated like a kid. I get scolded by him, and it's like just it's a strange feeling because you've grown up reading his text, and now you got to do 13 books with him. So it was very, very special. One day my daughter is called Dunia, and we shared quite a lot of things. So I was talking about, and this series of books were called Samay Post. Samay is his grandchild. So I kept sharing the sketches of my daughter that I do, and then he one day he said that, यार एक कविता सुनो, ये दुनिया के बारे में, दुनिया मेरी, इस पे एक किताब बनाई के. Now how do you react to something like that? Because it's about my daughter, written by Gulzar. So the first thing was that you're overwhelmed, you don't know what to do, you're crying, and but you put yourself together because it's a job. So when I had to do this job, what was very important was I involved Dunya also. So the background, like this rainbow, is done by her, and she was just 3.5 then. And this is her. She splashed things, and I keep everything what my daughter does. So yeah, that's from that. This was a very special thing because I had to do a character called Anta Gafilji. Again, Anta Gafilji is very important for me because there's a certain attempt to wipe out a certain community, and and then there's the main character of this book is Anta Gafilji. तो मैंने ना उनका जब कैरेक्टर बनाया ना, तो मैंने सोचा उनके चेयर का भी एक कैरेक्टर होना चाहिए. तो वो टूटी हुई कुर्सी है, उसको किसी ने मरम्मत किया है, ठीक से भी नहीं किया है, उन्होंने खुद ही कर लिया है शायद. तो and the sentence that or the text that Gulzar Sahab had given me was, बैठक में बैठते कुर्सी पे बैठते हैं. तो मैंने जब ये बनाया ना, तो उन्होंने टेक्स्ट में 2 लाइन ऐड की, दुआई है दुआई गफील जी की अंगड़ाई उनकी तो कोनी गई कुर्सी को मोच आई. So I just feel what a privilege that because of your illustration, Gulzar Sahab writes an extra paragraph in the poem. So that was quite interesting. And then each book carries this little text which is written by him. मैं कलम से, Alan रंगों से, और सुशील जी is the editor for this one. And कागज से खिलौने बनाकर बच्चों का बहला रहे थे. Anyways, I just wanted to share this, that life has a way of throwing surprises. And my illustrations in different magazines or is always about some issue that has troubled me. So this one is a double spread which is about what is it that you want to do, pariksha kya hai, so I play around with the word. Then this was just about an article about Gandhi ji. So this was about pigs, one issue of one magazine, Pluto magazine, was again the tree becomes very important for me as a giver. So this was about the influence of unplanned development on tribal areas. So this was a cover. This is important for me because the character who was the Raja and who's bitten by this bed bug, but I made him उसमें टेक्स्ट में लिखा नहीं था कि कहाँ पे उनको काटा है, तो मैंने उनके बम पे कटा है उसको. राजा को थोड़ा ना उसका सेक्सुअल ओरिएंटेशन क्या है पता नहीं है, because I think it's you have the privilege when you are an illustrator to do these things. This was about naming teachers in school. One article I thought was very interesting or relatable because all of us did this. कि किसी को गिरगिट बोल रहे, किसी को कछुआ बोल रहे, and so this is just a poem. So cycle has a big part in my life. Cycle magazine के लिए भी काम करते हैं. तो this is a poster I designed for the Copenhagen Bike Festival 2 years ago. This was also printed on a beer can, so which is quite nice. I will just quickly go through this. Whatever I am today, I really think design education plays I do a lot of design, but most of my work is now illustration and storytelling. One man which is responsible is MP Ranjan, who taught us design process. And this is the poster I had done in '94. After doing this poster, मुझे ऐसा लगा कि एक मोमेंट आता है आपकी लाइफ में जब आप ना आपके दिमाग में कुछ होता है और आप उसको पेपर पे ले नहीं आ सकते हो क्योंकि यू आर स्टिल लर्निंग. But this was the first time I had something in my head. I could take it out completely the way I had visualized it. So this is in '95, I think, and I felt अभी कुछ क्लिक हो गया है अंदर, which is working, and I really thank this man. I will just skip this because I want to go back to now. Design education is something अभी मेरे सारे design work में ना I do brainstorming, ये सब direct influence of वो कोर्स का ही है कि एवरीथिंग लोगो डिजाइन करना है या किसी ब्रोशर डिजाइन करना है, एनफील्ड के लिए काम आया है, तो सब कुछ वरुण ग्रोवर की एक आर्टिकल थी वो उसको इलस्ट्रेट करना भी, उसकी फिल्म बनानी है, तो एवरीथिंग गेट्स. और ये एक जल्दी से इसके बारे में बता देते हैं कि एक इलस्ट्रेशन है लेकिन इन्फ्लुएंस की बात कर रहे हैं ना, ये बंकपेड है. ये मेरे फ्रेंड Horo, all of you know, Horo's and me, we have a classmate, and Rahul Ajmera is another classmate who built this bunk bed with his kids. तो उसको ट्रिब्यूट देने के लिए इधर चिपका दिया. ये पल्लवी का डॉग है, ये मेरी बेटी का टेबल है, ये कोरोना का समय है तो कोरोना का ट्रिब्यूट दिया है, कविता सा ने एक गिफ्ट दिया तो वो डाल दिया. तो it is like this it's I can claim it is mine but it's not mine. इसको स्किप करते हैं because टाइम कम है. Now just coming to animation, again I don't make a film straight away. I do my brainstorming coming from that. So paper चिपका बड़ा सा, उसके ऊपर सारे thoughts डाले. उसके बाद लॉकडाउन आया तो you do कि हम travel नहीं कर सकते, तो वो this was about people. अभी ये सब अभी जल्दी से skip कर जाते हैं. ये these are political comments that I keep making. I mean, Atmanirbhar, so I was just thinking, what is it? This was democracy. This you've seen. Animation. This is how I animated old school, like frame by frame. So this is how my studio looks when I'm doing a film. Or this is a film I just completed. Abhi it will do the rounds of the festival if it is selected. It is a full-length, feature-length film about Pandit Kumar Gandhar. But everything happens on paper first before you do anything else. So this is the poster for the film. And so Swati, I would request you to play that video. If people are interested in the video, they can just have a look. And I will end my presentation here and leave the floor open for the questions and answers. Over to you, Swati.
हम विवेक.
हम सारिका.
दुनिया ने बड़ा
like you.
ड्रीम्स तेरे सपने मेरे थोड़े थोड़े नाटी नाटी कहने को है तू भी मैं भी थोड़े थोड़े हॉटी हॉटी हाँ कह दे या ना कह दे मैंने तो बस देखा है ये बड़े साल से खिट पिट था अब जाके ये सुलझा है उलझा है तुझ पे ही फिसला है नूडल सा दिल उलझा है नूडल सा दिल
Alan, thank you so much for sharing your incredible journey with us. Your unique blend of
You're
humor.
welcome.
Am I audible?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Your unique blend of humor, wit, and profound insights has left us captivated. Your ability to transform personal experiences into powerful visual narratives is truly inspiring. It's evident that your tribal roots have deeply influenced your artistic perspective, enriching your work with unique and authentic voice. Thank you for using our platform to champion social change and inspire us all. Before we get into the question answer session, we have a short announcement of other upcoming exciting events by Travel Design Forum. We are organizing 2 boot camps of 3 days each, where we meet in person, interact, and learn from each other through collaborative workshops, immersive experiences with the local communities and culture, while we focus on developing strategies for social, cultural, and economic development of the tribal communities in the region through art, design, and technology. The first boot camp is on 2nd of October to 4th of October at Kohima with the tribal communities of Nagaland. The second boot camp is on 6th of October to 8th of October at Ukrul with the Tangkul Naga community. People interested in joining can visit our website www.tribaldesignforum.com and register to get detailed information regarding participation in the bootcamp. Alan, we have our first question for you.
Yeah.
So, how has your artistic style evolved over the past 28 years? From your early sketches in Bihar to your current work in Berlin, what factors have influenced this transformation?
Yeah, I think traveling is one thing that really broadens your perspective, and traveling is one you do physically travel to places. But you know, the first travelogues or first things that places that you've seen are through books. So for example, when I was looking at books from Soviet Union, I was looking at the way they draw it, but I was also learning about a culture which is far away. So you know, this journey started long time back, and I think over time, then you know, you were always interested in art, but design happened in between. And then I have moved from like you know, Bihar to Delhi, Delhi to Ahmedabad, Ahmedabad to Rajkot, Rajkot to Germany now. So in life also you have moved quite a lot, and all the places. I mean, even in India, if you just travel 100 kilometers, culture changes, and when the culture changes, it influences you because it gives you another perspective about uh, how the architecture is, how the people are, what they eat, what they dress, and all these things. You know? So it just widens your perspective, and it's up to you what you take or what you carry and what you don't carry. So like you know, I just feel that. Your own roots are there, but when you move away from your roots, it's the only thing that makes you feel that you belong somewhere, and you come from somewhere. But I don't shy away from borrowing from other cultures, and that's what I am. I'm a layer of a set of layers that keep growing. So that is what I would say influences me and my work. Design education, of course, plays a very big role in what I am today.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah.
How have the diverse cultures and environments you have encountered shaped your perspective and artistic expression? Can you elaborate on
I
specific?
Yeah, I will just tell you, like, when we were in design school, we learned about one thing. Color is very, you can interpret color in culturally also. Like, so suppose look at white in the Hindu culture when somebody becomes a vidwa, or she has to wear white. And in a Christian culture, white is worn on the day of the wedding. So, the more you travel, you will realize that there are so many different perspectives towards the same thing. So, one thing that looked like something is completely different in another culture. So, you really kind of are amazed that you keep borrowing these things. You keep saying, okay, I can look at it this way, I can look at it this way. And each time you look at it from another perspective, you, as an artist, it's inspirational, because that's what it is. No, what do you create? You create a new perspective, but that perspective is multiple point perspective from all the other cultures, and influences of those cultures on you. Like, for example, what I eat, a very big example. Was I late today? No, I was half an hour early. I wanted to talk to you before you guys told me that let's do a check. I would do it, and I'm never late now. So that is because I came to Germany. They just like respect time like crazy. And earlier my clients used to chase me. Now I'm chasing my clients कि वो उनका बहाना वाला मेल आता है कि यार आज प्रेजेंटेशन पे नहीं आ पाएंगे. So this is how it is, how influences, cultural influences work. So, of course, I've lived in Germany for the last 16 years. It has a big influence on me. But there are things that I don't borrow from this culture. I hate about this culture. Similarly, there are a lot of things about India that I don't like, because it is a certain way of looking at things, and not that I don't like India. I really like India. I mean, like, look at my clothes today, or whole of summer I keep wearing Indian clothes. So I'm wearing a lungi today, which you don't see, but because it's summer, and they don't know how to deal with this, because it's recent for them because of the climate change. But we know how to deal with summer for a very long time. So it's sharing of culture. Now a lot of people keep asking me in this community where I have my studio कि वो थोड़ा अपने जैसा कपड़ा लेके आ जाओ ना हमारे लिए. So it is that exchange of yeah, and then it influences your work. That's how I look at it. Because for me, the clothes that I wear and the art that I do is the same thing. One and the same. If you really focus. Yeah.
So the next question is about your daily practices. How do you maintain a consistent sketching practice amidst all the demands of your professional life? And what role does discipline play in your creative process?
See, when it becomes, I think I've briefly answered your question. When it becomes a way of life, no, like if I write a shopping list, that also is illustrated. So there's no pressure to sketch. It has become a way of life. It's your language. So, like, when I came to Germany to visit my girlfriend, now wife, for the first time, I wanted to buy flowers for her. I didn't know how to. I didn't know the language. I was in a small town, so I drew, and I figured out where is the flower shop, and I got to. So it is that discipline is a very big factor. People look at my life, 25 plus countries visited and sketchbooks from that, but it takes a lot to be able to do that. Where is your energy focused on? Where is so I get up at 6:30 in the morning for the last what 25-30 years. uh, I'm 51. 20, 25 years, like I would say that I've been like working like a machine. And of course, I take my breaks, but my breaks, like, so Abhi, I went to Sweden, but I came back with a sketchbook full of stories, with another sketchbook with a storyboard for a film. Because you're working all the time, it's become a way of life. There's no difference between what you do professionally, and but discipline is required. You cannot just say, oh, I am on this holiday, so अभी अभी जाके सो जाते हैं ना, लेकिन वो सोने का मन भी नहीं होता है. वो another thing is that, and that you are constantly working. So you come back with a sketchbook. My sketchbooks are only 36 to 40 pages in one sketchbook, so you have that much work. So it's not about trying to hit a target of numbers, but it is just that it's become a way of life. Anything वो sketch के through ही होता है, like when you're trying to explain something to somebody. I mean, when people ask me where are you from, so the easiest thing is to draw the map, tell them this, draw some monuments that they might know. That this is close to my house, whatever. And so it's become a way of life, and there is a lot of discipline which people don't see. So when I go to Ahmedabad, I meet my old friends who भी party, थोड़ा दारू वारू भी पी लिया, लेकिन सुबह उठने का है, सुबह जाके स्केचिंग करने का है. तो देन पीपल गेट वेरी इरिटेटेड कि कितना मतलब बोरिंग आदमी है, सुबह क्यों चला गया, मतलब हाउ कैन यू डू दिस. बट दैट्स हाउ इट इज, दैट्स आई मीन टू मी दैट इज डिसिप्लिन. मैं खाना भी बनाता हूँ, मैं बर्तन भी धोता हूँ, लेकिन ये भी होता है क्योंकि देयर इज डिसिप्लिन, एंड देयर इज नो शेम इन, और नॉट शेम इज नॉट द राइट वर्ड. It's not hard work. It's just become a way of life that you have sketching as a language that you use every day.
So
Yeah,
with the
I'm very happy that you asked that question. I think it's one of the most important questions.
So with the advent of digital tools, how has your approach to sketching changed? Do you prefer traditional or digital medium, or do you combine both?
Me, I'll tell you, I was, I'll just tell you a short story. I go to this cafe twice a week called Cafe Cinema, and I sketch there because it's like a ritual. After my daughter's born, there is like, very specific days that I go there and sketch, because that's the only time I get to go out during a working week. So I don't have to take care of her in the evening those 2 days. So I go there and I sketch. One day, one man walked up to me and he said, "ये कौन करता है? मतलब who does this? You know what? There is AI. You can just feed some words and it will." So I didn't know how to answer that, and I just told him that, यार तू मुझसे बात नहीं करता. You would not be talking to me if I was not doing this. That's the only answer I have for you. And the other thing that I feel is that I like technology. Technology is the base why I can communicate today with all of you. So it's beautiful. But as far as drawing is concerned, I like drawing. I like spending time. अभी ना सारे if you look at Instagram and all, सब 90 seconds में कुछ बना के दिखा रहे हैं. ऐसे लग रहा है कि कुछ competition चल रहा है. लेकिन nobody is talking about how much do you enjoy doing this. अरे मैं तो पूरे दिन बैठ के स्केच करूंगा यार, मुझे 90 सेकंड में कर दिया तो it's like a quickie. I don't want it. I want to really think of it as making love. It should be आराम से, you enjoy it, and so why should I speed it up? Because technology is there, and it's beautiful to have technology, but it will take away from something that I enjoy. Why should I compromise on that? It's a very basic question, and I think we need to ask this to ourselves कि यार अगर मुझे ये चीज़ अच्छी लगती है, it's the process that is beautiful. When you have a sketch, you talk to people. When you're sketching, you hear the sounds. All that becomes a part of your sketch. तो सडनली उसको जल्दी से निपटा दिया तो उसके बाद क्या करेंगे? पैसा कमाएंगे. तो पैसा कमाने के लिए तो यही कर रहे थे, मतलब यही करने के लिए तो पैसा कमाते हैं कि you can earn money to do things that you really like doing. So मैं whatever I earn, I spend it on traveling, doing things that I want to do. अब उसको कोई बोल रहा है कि स्पीड अप कर लो, थोड़ा वो it becomes like, so I love the fact that I can sit in Germany, I can run an office 16 years successfully in a small town called Rajkot. Isn't that beautiful thing about technology? But it's how we use it. So for me, I think it's very important to use technology as a means to an end, but not an end by itself. It is something that is there for all of us to use. It's the most beautiful thing. But it's I mean, I'm talking about digital technology here. But we have to draw the line on and really think for ourselves, what do we like doing? Why do we do things in a certain way? Do we want food which is cooked in 2 seconds in a microwave or some other device? Or do you want to know how to cut the vegetables, at which angle you cut, and how long you want to cook it, and the aroma that fills the room? And I don't know. I mean, these are the questions we need to ask ourselves. And I think थोड़ा age के साथ थोड़े answers मिल गए, तो I am very happy. Okay.
So another one, we have got actually a question in the chat. I'll just read
Yeah.
it out. This is Dilip Dhan. He says, your each drawing has a story of their own, but like you mentioned, everyone will have their own perspective and interpretation when looking at it.
Hmm.
How does the thought make you feel that the story you had for that piece may or may not transcend to the audience?
So illustration is something which is like, if you look at it, illustrations as a profession is something where you illustrate for a text. So it anchors. There is something that anchors it, and of course it is open to interpretation, but it's not abstract because there is a reason and a purpose behind it. So there is a text accompanying it, or there is a bit of text like a poster design which tells you that, okay, this is the poster. So the chance of people not getting it is very low as far as illustration is concerned. But as far as art is concerned, then तो ये मेरा मूड किया, मैंने किया, तुमको जैसा इंटरप्रेट करना है करो, वो अलग हो जाता है ना. But when there is a text accompanying thing, and of course, like sketches are very personal, so they are like art. It's my interpretation of the thing, and it might not have the same meaning for somebody else. So it is just fair that somebody interprets something which is not has no other things attached to it their own way. And maybe it could be negative, it could be positive, it could be very, very positive that they see something else, and where you've not managed to see it. So I think it's good that it's that way. Yeah.
So how do you see the role of art in addressing social and environmental issues? Have you used your sketches to raise awareness about specific causes?
वो by the way हो जाता है. See, because you are built in a certain way, you have certain thoughts, no? तो तुम्हारा अपना खुद का ideologies होता है, no? So when I just said that I present my perspective through my art, it's a language that I use, which is a visual language. But I'm not asking anybody to subscribe to my point of view. I'm just saying this is my perspective and I'm sharing it. Right. So that's how I am able to, and of course, environmental issues. But I don't like wearing a badge saying I am this, I'm an activist, and of course, I will fit into a category of creative activism. If you, but why put yourself in a category like that? If you can just do things. If I am drawing a tree for the love of it, and it shows in the tree itself that you've drawn that there is love, and people can start looking at it from that perspective. I think I don't like putting categories to things, but of course I mean, you saw a lot of examples, when I talked about the Ahmedabad sketchbook cover. Chacha Ahmedabad, I call him. He's on the cover. Or anything. I'll give you an example, which was एक जगह कहीं पे मुझे एक स्टेशन ड्रॉ करना था, तो स्टेशन का नाम मैंने मुजफ्फरपुर रखा था क्योंकि उसका नाम चेंज कर दिया है, एंड आई डोंट अग्री विद इट, नो. सो वो प्रिंट में है अभी, वो स्टेशन है, मतलब स्टेशन है, उसका नाम मुजफ्फरपुर है, वो प्रिंट में अभी उसको चेंज नहीं कर सकते. So you can go on doing things, but I will do it my way, and I'll have my own way of doing things. अभी एक और प्रोजेक्ट किया है, वो अभी किसी को बता नहीं सकते, उसमें बहुत सारा हिडन एलिमेंट्स डाल दिए. तो बाद में लोगों को पता चलेगा कि ये देखो इसने यहाँ पे ये सब सारे पॉलिटिकल कमेंट्स इसमें डाल दिए। वो देखते हैं। तो थोड़े पंगे भी लेना चाहिए ना, तो लोग आई मीन पीपल आर नॉट गोइंग टू फॉलो, एवरीबडी इज एन इंडिविजुअल, दे हैव देयर ओन पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू, सो दे आर नॉट गोइंग टू अग्री विद योर पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू, एंड सो इट्स ओके ना, तो थोड़ा सा पंगा लेने का। ओके, आई थिंक आई हैव आंसर्ड योर क्वेश्चन।
Yes. Shyam की तरफ से 2 questions है which I'd like to ask. So first would be, what would be your message to today's young visual artist from tribal community? How should they perceive the world, the market, and their own art and their own stories?
Okay, so authenticity, will only come when you are digging deep into your own being, and you see where you come from, the stories that you have experienced. So वो authenticity वही है ना कि ये authentic है। authentic का मतलब क्या है, आपको पता है, आपने experience किया है। that is one thing, and question everything, like do you want to make videos and put up and show that you can make something which actually takes a whole day or probably a lifetime, and you put it in 90 seconds, and then it becomes like just a post on or you want to actually understand the profession. I mean, this is an old man talking, but this is how I look at things. I question everything. कोई भी चीज नया आता है ना, नोट बैन कर दिया तो उसको सेलिब्रेट नहीं करने का, like you have to understand कि नोट बैन हुआ है तो उससे क्या क्या उसका रिपरकशन क्या होगा, what are the problems and what are the things, and then you have an analytical brain, तो सब कुछ को अभी क्या हुआ है ना कि you look at everything, everything is celebrated just on the वो भी डाला और सेलिब्रेशन शुरू हो गया। ऐसा नहीं होना चाहिए, थोड़ा तो सोचने का है ना, थोड़ा तो क्वेश्चन करने का है कि क्या हुआ नहीं हुआ। And same thing about your own profession, no? Where do you want to be? What do you see yourself as? What do you want to do? Do you have a goal? Do you want to have a proper thought कि ये सब तो ठीक है, पैसे भी कमाएंगे, ट्रैवल भी करेंगे, लेकिन इसके अलावा क्या है लाइफ में? What is it that I really want? So those kind of questioning is important, because all of us are capable of finding answers. It's just that somewhere we stop doing these things and we start following a trend. And trend is very funny because I don't understand. I mean, maybe I'm too old, but एक गाना आ जाएगा, उसका सब लोग डांस करके वीडियो बना के चिपका देंगे. So it's a very nice collective feeling, but it gets you nowhere. I mean, at least that's what I think. तो थोड़ा मीनिंगफुल करना है तो क्या करेंगे? Like, So so that's the first question, or yeah.
Alan, I would ask you the last question for today's session. This is Shyam asking about वो पीछे वाले वॉल पे जो बड़ा सा स्केच है, उसका क्या स्टोरी है?
तो ये बड़ा वाला स्केच, ये वाला वो ना एक मुर्गा है, वो मुर्गा दिख रहा है क्या? I don't know. I will just get it. It's a little heavy, but now you can see it, no?
Yes.
So that's the and there is a skiing guy. So when you ski, your ski leaves. Abhi, I'm very proud Bihari who can ski. I learned it at the ripe age of 40. But coming back to this, 43. This was for a competition which is called Hanakam. Hanakam is a competition which happens in Switzerland, skiing competition, and Hanakam means कि वो hen का जो ऊपर का वो होता है ना, that pool.
Yes.
Yeah, that. So this was my entry to that poster for that competition. I made it to the finals, but I never won it. So, but I really like this poster, so it's there. अभी इसको मैं ठीक से रखूँ, यहाँ पे बाथरूम पर रखें. So, yeah.
Thank you so much. Yes.
You're welcome. Hello, thank you everybody. Whoever came for this session, I'm very, very thankful that you were here. And yeah, it's always nice to share stories and talk about what my journey has been. So yeah, good luck with everything. Shyam, especially. I don't know how old are you, but you sound young. So let's see. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
Bye.
yeah, Alan. And you sound old. Chalo. नाम से
अरे देखो ये भाई भी बैठा है हमारा क्लासमेट
नहीं नहीं देखना
हाउ आर यू
ऑल गुड यार चल थैंक्स सो मच अभी
हाँ
हम लोग बाद में कनेक्ट करते रहेंगे बट
ठीक
थैंक्स
है
फॉर ड्रॉपिंग बाय
ओके
ऑल दीस थिंग्स चलो बाय बाय
थैंक यू सो मच बाय गुड टू सी यू
Swati, if you can close the session please.
Yes, sure. Before we close the session today, we would like to inform you for tomorrow's talk at the same place, same time. We have Sejal Rathwa talking about Pithora art on the sacred ritualistic visual expression of Pithora art, a traditional form of painting from the Rathwa community at 7:30 IST. Alan, thank you for sharing your incredible journey with us. Your unique perspective, coupled with your extraordinary talent, has truly captivated our audience. Your ability to weave personal narratives into visual, stunning artworks is nothing short of inspiring. We are particularly impressed by your consistent dedication to sketching for over 28 years, a testament to your passion and unwavering commitment to your craft. Your work is a powerful reminder of transformative nature of art, and we are grateful for the opportunity to have you share your insights with us today. To all our attendees, thank you for your engagement and your thoughtful questions. Your support is crucial in amplifying Indigenous voices and stories. Thank you once again and hope to see you at our next session. Thank you, everyone.